Hey everyone, this is Eric Franklin with your Garrison Public Affairs Office, and this week on the podcast, we have a first sergeant who decided to re-enlist indefinitely with a few of her soldiers. Listen in to find out why on this week's Great Big Podcast.
With the Garrison Public Affairs Office, and I am here with Specialist Yetter, Corporal McNabb, and First Sergeant Guerra, and we are discussing reenlistment today. Won't you guys introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Specialist Yetter. I'm a 25 Hotel, and I'm with Alpha Company 57th ESB.
Hi, I'm Corporal McNabb. I am a 25 Hotel, and I am with Alpha 57th ESB.
I am First Sergeant Guerra. I'm a 25 Hotel, and I'm with Alpha Company 57th ESB, 11th Signal Brigade.
What does ESB mean?
Expeditionary Signal Battalion. Enhanced. So
Enhanced.
We're an ESBE.
Enhanced.
Enhanced.
Okay. So, sorry about that. So, tell us a little bit about where is everybody from? And yeah, where are you guys from?
I was born in Helena, Montana, and I lived there for first 2 years of my life. Then I moved to Washington for a time when I was a baby.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went back to Montana, did my elementary school years there. And then after that, it was bouncing around. I lived in Tennessee, Wisconsin, Virginia. And then I joined the Army myself and, lived all those places too. Korea, here, and then everywhere that I did training. So
okay,
from all over.
All right, that's fair. And you?
So I was born in Boise, Idaho, and I moved to Tennessee around 4 or 5 years old, and I lived in Tennessee up until the point where I joined the Army, and I went to training in South Carolina, and Georgia, and then I've been at Fort Cavazos, Texas for the last 5.5 years.
Okay. First off, you can't get North and South Carolina confused because those have two totally different atmospheres when it comes to weather. To me.
Well, in my defense, I'm very geographically challenged. So.
Well, okay.
It's not my strongest suit either. Don't feel bad. What about you, First Sergeant Guerra?
Mine's pretty easy. Jacksonville, Florida. That's where I was.
Duval. So, my bad.
Out of all of the careers and avenues you could have chosen, what made you want to be all you could be in the Army?
So I originally, once I graduated high school, I started college at South College, and I was going for a nursing program, and that lasted about a whole 3 days. I decided that college was not the move for me. And my brother had actually enlisted in the Army as an 11 Bravo about 6 months prior to me looking into it. And he loved it. Like, every time I talked to him, he was happy, and he really enjoyed the camaraderie that he had surrounding him and just all of the family-like friends that he had made. And so it made me start looking into it, and I've just honestly loved it ever since. So here I am.
What made me want to be all that I could be in the military was, so I joined and I was hot. I was ready to go. And then I tried out not being all that I could be for a while, and I was, part of the mafia, all that stuff, and it just, it was cool for a while, and then I decided that it really sucked, and I was going to go back to, being hot. That was where it was at. So I'm glad to be back on this side of it, and hopefully we can stay here.
We're glad to have you back on this side.
It's way more fun.
Success story. That's
a success story.
A lot of soldiers go through that.
What about you, First Sergeant?
So I joined in 2011. I didn't have to join. I graduated college from the University of North Florida, and I had a longtime friend from high school that was a ranger at the time. And, he said, I'm rapidly deploying all the time, and anybody that's able-bodied should do it too. And I was not in shape or able-bodied, but I did it. And I actually went in on the enlisted side instead of going officer, and I never looked back. Literally, when I was in basic training, I was like, I'll go in def today if I could. So I just didn't look back.
Just a fun fact, I did go to basic training in South Carolina, Fort Jackson. Brings back a lot of memories. So you guys actually took the oath of reenlistment together, right?
Yes.
How was that, doing that together?
It was pretty unique. I came in late. I decided that I was going to reenlist, and I heard that they were going to have that ceremony coming up pretty soon. I said, "Hey, get my paper down, get my paper in. I got to be in that." So I'm glad that I made it.
I enjoyed it for the simple fact that, like I said earlier, this has been my home for the last 5.5 years, so it was nice being around, and doing it with all my family.
Yeah, and for me, we scheduled it probably a month and a half before the date, and I had been spending probably a year thinking about what am I going to do for my in-depth reenlistment, what am I going to do. And then I stepped back and I was like, we have about 11, 12 now soldiers that have re-enlisted in the company, and what better way to do it than with your soldiers, and to celebrate that day with them.
So now all you guys are gonna have a bond with. You're like, oh, I re-enlisted with my first sergeant who now is in def to the Army. Yeah, first, so people who don't know, in def means you're doing at least 20 years. Like that is the minimum amount of time that you're gonna do for the Army. Like in def is it's not a death sentence. It sounds really bad, but it's really not. It's fun. It just means that the Army has you for another how many more years now? Forever. Yeah. See, well, there you have it. Forever.
So I know that the reasons that people reenlist, they vary all across the board. What are some of the main reasons why you guys said yes again to another term in the military?
For me, it was that I was coming up on the end of my contract, and I was looking back at my service, and I was like, okay, so if you get out now, are you going to have any cool stories to tell the bros or to tell the grandkids or anything like that?
True.
And I was like, okay, you lived in Korea, check, that was pretty cool. And then it was just, I drawn a bunch of blanks after that, and I said, okay, we're going to need to reset the clock, and we're going to need to get some experiences under the belt, so that one day when I do get out, because it's coming, whether you do 20 years or not.
Yeah.
That way I can sit the grandkids around and say, well, let me tell you something about your grandfather here, and, go into a cool story. So that's why I did it. I just wanted to maximize the experience.
Love that.
So for me, this was actually my second reenlistment. My first one was back in 2021, and I had just had my kid about 4 months prior, and I had no plan whatsoever. So that was my reason for reenlisting the first time. And then for this time, similar to Specialist Yetter, I looked back on my time in the Army, and I wanted to do more, and I wanted to be the best I could be for my kid and my husband. And I feel like I hadn't given the Army my all up until I got corporal, actually, because prior to that, I didn't feel like I had a purpose. But now I enjoy leading and mentoring people and guiding them. And I've just enjoyed seeing what I have grown into compared to what I was whenever I joined the Army, because they're two completely different people. And then also the Army has made a bunch of strides to bettering not only like everybody's lives, but for me, what I resonate with is they have bettered the postpartum period for women. They have made it to where it's easier, to get back on track, because previously it was 6 months, you had to pass a PT test and you had to pass height and weight. Now it's you have a year for both of those, and you also have a year where you're stationary to where you're at, so you can spend time bonding with your kid and your family. And then they, not only that, but they have also made strides towards women in the Army in general. So,
well, I'm not going to date myself here on air. But I do remember in the 90s, I don't recall if I had 6 months. I don't think it was that long.
Yeah.
I felt like there was a great amount of pressure to snap back. And
100%.
That was very, very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And I do remember partaking in some remedial PT.
Yeah, well, for me, it was, I had, not to be a Debbie Downer, but I had postpartum depression really bad, and that took a good 4 months.
That's a serious thing.
Yeah.
Away from me being able to mentally and physically actually go out and, eat better and go to the gym, because I didn't have the time or the energy or the drive to do any of that. And then, my 6 month was slowly approaching. I had 3 weeks to, no, I think I had about 6 weeks to get back into shape. And I gained over 90 pounds during my pregnancy. So that was very stressful. And I ate maybe 3 times in a 3-week period, just trying to meet the weight standards. And then 3 weeks before I hit my 6 months is when the regulation changed. And that was a big weight lifted off my shoulders. So.
Excellent. What about you, First Sergeant?
Well, I think mine's like a no-brainer, right? Going in def is a little bit different, but I want to share something when it comes to what McNabb was kind of correlating to, right? Is one, she's dual military, and her sister's in the military, and her brother has served, so they've really done a generational change of like prior service. Now your whole family's in the Army, right? So which is really getting towards the path of broadening our force, which is what we want to do. So for me, in def was a no-brainer. Of course, I was going to do it, especially when you're a first sergeant. Like, not to go in def would be kind of awkward, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's really fun for me because I take passion in trying to help soldiers make that decision. You know, there's many times I had conversations with Specialist Yetter and Corporal McNabb, and Yetter was on the fence for a while. I don't attribute my direct leadership 100% to him re-enlisting, but as leaders, we have to have those conversations with our soldiers, and we can't just put that on career counselors, right?
Yeah.
We're all career counselors. We're all a part of the mission to try and help grow the Army, because our sole goal is for them to replace me.
Yeah.
And for them to be our future. So we have to make strides into doing that. And I think re-enlistment, that's why it's so important, because it's not just about the here and the now.
Yeah.
It's about 10 years down the road.
So go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, so First Sergeant just said that she doesn't attribute herself to, you know, being, to getting us to re-enlist, but I would disagree for the simple fact that, one of the big reasons why I re-enlisted the first time, obviously, was my kid.
Yeah.
But another one was I was set on getting out, and I had not the best leadership up until it was about time for me to re-enlist. And her husband was actually my battalion sergeant major at the time.
Okay.
And he had completely changed the culture and the environment of our unit. And it seemed like he actually cared about each individual person. Like, he would go up to almost everybody and have a one-on-one conversation with them and get to know them as a person and not just, you know, a number. Like, I feel like there's a stigma around the Army or the military in general about how you're just a number. And he changed that perspective for me. And then also First Sergeant, after she became our First Sergeant back in October, she started sitting down, because being a female and a female leader in the Army is not super easy, and she sat down with me and a couple of other female leaders to help mentor us, and she was like, don't let anybody talk over you, don't let anybody steal your thunder, your voice, anything. And she just uplifted me and made me feel powerful. So I feel like both of them together also directed my decision on re-enlisting as well. So
Okay.
How does that make you feel, First Sergeant?
That makes you feel pretty good. Yeah. It's an awesome day when you impact, even if it's one soldier, right?
Yeah.
If you leave, you're never going to make everybody happy. I always live on that philosophy. You do what's best for the organization, best for the soldiers. But if you can make that 1, 2, 3 impacts when you're exiting an organization, that's the best thing that can ever happen. Because that's what we're here for. We're not here for the paycheck. When we stay in the Army, we're here to ensure that soldiers are taken care of, and the Army is taken care of. So.
And how have you seen these soldiers grow and mature within their roles since their first enlistment?
So me being here for almost a year now, McNabb, I've seen make a drastic change in her leadership style and how she's really gotten after it. Yetter, the change from I'm going to get out of the Army, I'm going to go back home, the E4 Mafia, right? And he's always been uplifting. He's never been a negative soldier. He is one of the most positive soldiers I've ever met in my career. And to see him transition to I want to go to the promotion board. I want to make the next rank. I want to serve 6 more years. I want to do cool guy stuff is an awesome transition to see them both grow and develop. And you see all the phases, because as leaders, we can't get stuck when a soldier says, I don't want to do this Army thing. I want to get out. I want to move forward. Why? Let's have those conversations let's talk about the details. Maybe they just need a fresh start. Maybe they just want to go to a different duty station. Maybe they're not getting the answers they need. Maybe it's something simple that's happening at work that we can shift and we can help change and develop. If it's something as simple as I'd be happier if I had a civilian clothes day. Like, let's do it, right?
Let's make it happen.
Within guidelines, because y'all know I'm strict.
I'm just listening to your approach, and I really appreciate it because, like I said, back in my day, there was none of that. You know, it was just kind of, it is what it is. You have to work with it, work within the boundaries that are set before you. There was no compromising, you know, no really taking into account what would really make us, you know, happier soldiers or lift our morale and, you know, create a better rapport. There was none of that. So I really respect and I really appreciate that.
Caveat to that, she worked in a lab, so that had a lot to do with it.
And additionally, I'm a lot older than Eric.
Yeah, but she worked in a lab, so that had a. Medical people are great. I love them. Those who listen to us, you guys are great, but you guys are difficult to work with. Like anything medical is just too intense for me. Too intense.
I beg to differ.
Too
beg to differ.
intense.
But of course, I am in this field now.
Yeah.
This is what I went to school for. So listening to how a first sergeant sees how has you grown, or how she thinks you've grown and matured and changed. What do you guys think?
So for me, it makes me feel like I'm not only growing myself, but like I've been making accomplishments and stuff. I have a toddler. He's going to be 3 in November, and so it's not the easiest for me right now. You know, I'm waking up at like 4:50 every morning to get him to daycare when it opens, just so I can make sure I make it to PT on time. And, you know, sometimes, you know, going through the day-to-day life, you feel like you're not noticed. And then whenever people bring it up that they see you and they see what you're doing, it makes you feel good. Actually, last week I took Specialist Yetter to the board, and our Sergeant Major Shower, he said that he went and visited our Georgia team on mission, and he said unprovoked, one of the soldiers out there brought up to him just how like great of a leader I was to them. And, you know, last week was kind of a down week for me, and so that uplifted my spirit, that lifted my mood, and that just made me feel even more accomplished and even more like I was doing the right thing. Because for me, like, my leadership style is being like a servant leader, because I feel like in order to be like a good leader, you have to be, you know, a great follower, if not an even better follower than you are a leader. So I feel like you have to constantly like put yourself in your team's footsteps, not just looking at it from you're going to listen to what I say and that's it. So
We're not always aware, you know, a little validation, you know, small accolades can really boost someone's self-esteem and propel them forward, especially when they're in a slump or, you know, at a standstill or feeling down like you said you were doing. So that's awesome.
So real quick, I know you're pretty much at the needs of the Army. Wherever the Army says you're going to go, you're going to go. But did you guys reenlist for anywhere protect? Now, first, and you guys are 25 uniforms? Or hotels. So first, what is that? What if you're talking to someone who has no idea about what the military is, what would you tell them a 25 hotel is?
So a 25 hotel is the code for network communication system specialist. And we have, there's really 2 parts to that. There's a satellite side, the SATCOM side, and it's on a team there would be 4 individuals, and then 2 of those individuals would handle that side, and then 2 more individuals would handle the baseband side, which is, you know, your routers and switches, things of that nature. And usually by then, the civilians that I'm explaining it to are like, oh, cool, and then I can stop, which is good for me because that's about as far as I think I could explain it anyway.
So would it be safe to say that you are high-speed system administrators?
Of course.
Of course.
The
Okay.
best of the best.
Oh.
Can't get any better than us 3 right
hotel.
If you don't toot your own horn, who's going to toot it for
Right.
you? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So did you guys, are you guys going anywhere different, or are you going to stay here at the Great Place?
I re-enlisted with 18 months of stabilization, so I'm going to stay here.
Okay.
I was like, man, this is I've been actually having a lot of fun down here, so I said, let's just keep that ball rolling, you know, and so that's where I'm at.
Unfortunately, my time at Fort Cavazos is coming to an end. I
Sad
am
face.
headed to Fort Liberty,
Oh,
North Carolina, not South
love it.
Carolina.
Yeah.
North Carolina.
Have you been to Fort Liberty before?
I have not.
you're gonna love it.
I hope
It's the center of the universe for a reason. So you're gonna love it. You will have an enjoyable time. I spent a considerable amount of time there, here at Fort Cavazos. Then it was Fort Hood, and overseas. But Fort Liberty is fun. You'll enjoy it. I think so. And where do you? Well, you got another year before. Another 8 months before they're even like, you're gonna go here, right? Or how's that gonna work
So
for
I'm
you?
dual military as well.
Oh.
So we kind of have to roll with the punches and see where we go on that.
Yeah.
So I will probably be at Fort Cavazos for 2 more years.
Okay.
I've been here for 3, so I will have been able to have a 5-year stint, which is amazing because we have, children in high school. The stabilization's been great, and for 25 Hotel on Fort Cavazos, my bad.
Yeah.
We can pretty much move anywhere, so we're not really locked down. So I will be entering my 6th job on Fort Cavazos. I'm going to take another first sergeant job.
Okay.
Coming in October, November timeframe.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be pretty cool.
So talking about your new role, are there any goals or missions you guys hope to accomplish in your extended service?
Me, I'm working towards maxing that fitness test. I feel like everything's right there, right hanging low for me to pick. Every event, I can just snag it, but I just need a little bit more training on some of them. Current score 546. Let's get it to 600. Oh.
Cool.
So currently I am hitting the ground running, just trying to make points for E5. So that's my short-term goal for right now. So.
For me, I'm big on programs. A lot
Yeah.
of people around me know I was a part of the People First Center when it first stood up. So as I transition back to coming to 3 Corps, I got a couple things on my mind that I want to kind of pitch to the bosses to kind of see how they like it. And it's in the realm of retention and recruitment because it's so important, especially during today. But I'm just going to keep grinding and go as far as I can go and impact as many soldiers as I can. The bigger echelons you hit, the more soldiers you can impact. So hopefully promotions come along with it. But
So with that, First Sergeant, since you're coming back up, since you told us where you're going, so that means we will have you on. We will have. Is it whatever you're going to be doing? Is it going to be podcast worthy? Is it going to be? Is it going to be
totally.
good? Okay, got it.
100%.
That's all we need to know.
I'm gonna try and
then.
make it.
That's all we need to know. Well, lastly, go ahead.
Well, I was just wondering, for those who are thinking or contemplating joining the service or thinking about reenlistment, what advice could you guys offer?
So when it comes to, I've been on both. I was a recruiter. So I was a recruiter for 4 years in
Double-edged
Illinois.
sword. Yeah.
So kind of from both ends. When you're coming into the Army, you have to do full research, right? And you have to realize that not everyone's path is going to be your path.
Mm-hmm.
I've never had a bad time in the Army, and a lot of people look at me and they're like, oh, that's crazy. But I take every single situation and I look at it as I'm going to make this unit how I want the unit. I'm going to make this experience how I want the experience and this day how I want the day, right? So when it comes to joining the Army, you really have to take everyone's opinions and pick and choose what fits you best, right? And you have to realize why you're joining the Army. And then when it comes to retention, you have to really sit back and go, why did I join the Army? Because if you go back to yourself 4 years ago and you ask yourself that question of, why did I actually join the Army? Was it to get out of my hometown? Was it just to get college? If you've gotten that, it's okay to exit to the left, You don't have to reenlist. But you really have to ask yourself, why did I initially take that step? Have I accomplished what I want to accomplish? And am I ready to go into the civilian world? Am I going to go out a better person? Because at the end of the day, if everyone decided I'm not going to get into I'm not going to stay in the Army, I'm not going to reenlist, are you a better member of society? And what are you giving back when you go out? I think that's really, really important. And then a lot of times they turn around and say, you know what? I actually want to stay in. So they turn around and sign on the dotted line and
Again.
they're given bonuses. I just want to say, there's some soldiers around me that have gotten some bonuses that for my forever time I'm not getting. So I'm doing this for the good faith.
What about you, Corporal?
So I don't know that this is necessarily advice, more so like the benefits wise, right? So in today's day and age, social media is a huge thing. And, I'm all the time seeing people talking about how our generation is never going to be able to afford to buy a home, or they can barely afford food, or they're living paycheck to paycheck, or they're just, struggling. And, I'm not saying, I'm the richest of the rich, but, with the provided health care for one, and you get housing allowance if you're married, and you get food allowance if you're married as well. And if you're not married, you get free lodging in the barracks, and then
great lodging in the barracks, free,
of course,
great lodging,
and the DFAC as well. So for me, it's me and my husband. We purchased our first home back in 2021, and we are currently looking to make an offer on another home in Fort Liberty. So that alone just makes me feel like the Army kind of sets you apart from people who are struggling in the civilian sector. And not only that, but like also the people I've met here are some of the best friends I have ever met in my life. Like, you will not find better friendships than you will here. Like, I will forever remember these people, their names, their faces, everything. And I'm a very sentimental person, so like I love memories.
Yeah.
And looking back, I've even the people who I barely passed by whenever I was on deployment, like I remember them. And just looking back, like seeing everything that you can accomplish and everything that the Army or that the military in general provides. It's just, I couldn't see myself doing anything else. And I ended up getting my sister to join somebody who was like, yeah, I will never, you will never catch me doing that. She was actually looking into being an esthetician. And then me and my dad convinced her to join. And she keeps making jokes about how she was going to lose her legs for some lashes, to be able to do lashes. But yeah, she's currently in the OSUT phase of basic. And so far she loves it. My brother loved it. My dad loved it. And my dad only did one contract.
Yeah.
And he regrets it every day of his life. Like, he always tells me he wishes that he could go back and redo it because he didn't get the full potential out of it. And that's what I'm trying not to do, is I want to know that even if I don't do a full 20, that I look back at my time and I say, I gave it everything I got and I made the most of it. And so I'd say, if you're thinking about joining or re-enlisting, definitely go in, weigh your options, talk to an Army recruiter, use me as a referral, so I can get promotion points.
Hey, you gotta do it.
Okay.
Definitely weigh your options, because the Army is not for everybody. I will say that the Army is not for everybody, but it is an amazing, stepping stool. If anything, it will help you get to where you need to go, help you set yourself apart in future jobs in the civilian world.
Yeah.
And it just comes with like a lot of great benefits. And if you are in the Army and, you're surrounded by a lot of toxic and negative people saying, oh, screw this, like I'm getting out. Usually those are just the people who don't like to do work in general. So they're going to be that way wherever they go. So I'd say, don't listen to those people. Listen to the people who can actually offer actual insight and actual advice and back up their claims with actual research and facts.
Yeah.
I think the advice that I would give any new individual that was looking to join the Army is to smile. I think that, the Army, it can be a pretty heavy profession, the nature of like what we're supposed to do, defend the country against enemies, foreign and domestic, things like that. It can get pretty stressful. It can get it can get tough. Like McNabb said, there's a lot of toxicity when you don't necessarily need it. There's a lot of things that if you look at them, like for the DFAC, for example, it's not the best food in the world, but just smile about that, or about everything. Keep a smile on your face, and if you can remember to do that, step back and observe the impact that has on your own life and the impact that has on everyone around you. That's the advice I'd give.
And they hear me say this all the time is, I always say always agile, right? I wake up every morning and I just say nothing is going to go as planned, and it never does.
Yeah, no.
There's not one thing I plan that it's actually going to come to fruition. So you just have to like be completely flexible. You can be frustrated, right? Like sometimes it just happens, but as long as you're flexible with it and you roll with the punches, no day will ever be the same and you're never going to be bored.
Yeah.
These soldiers definitely, I'm never bored.
Yeah.
There's not a day. And if I am, I just go in the back and I get laughs from Yetter.
Go ahead.
So for me, I had this high school gym teacher, and he would never say, have a good day. He would always say, make today a good or a great day.
Yeah.
Everything in life, literally everything, is all about mindset. You can make yourself have a good day. Sure, like there can be, crappy moments throughout each and every day, but you can make it good. It's all about your mindset. And I saw this thing not too long ago. It's, oh, I have to do dishes. Well, you can switch your mindset from, oh, I have to do dishes to, oh, well, I have a place to do dishes. I have food in my belly. I have, running water to do dishes. I roof over my head, just stuff like that. And people are like, oh, I have to go to work. Well, I'm able to work. My body is physically able and ready to work. So it's all about switching your mindset and making it into something more optimistic.
Okay.
I like that.
Well, we thank you guys for coming out. We actually went over on time, but that's okay. Magic power of editing, you won't even know it. But is there any parting words that you guys have before we get out of here?
If you listen to this podcast and you like my work, you can catch me at ACP 6 starting September 1st. I'll be there from 05 in the morning until 1300 in the evening. So drop by, say hello, and I'll welcome you to the great place.
I like that. Anything else?
That's cool.
Okay. All right, guys. Thank you again for coming out and sitting with us. We hope you enjoyed the podcast, and thank you guys again.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you for having us.
very much
Thank
for
you for
joining
having
us
us.
and sharing your insight and your experiences. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Let's keep it real. You're out having fun, you have a few drinks, now you're ready to go home, and you're pretty confident you can drive yourself, right? Think again. Don't be that person. Have a plan, call a friend, and don't drink and drive.
Hey, everyone. This is Eric Franklin with the Garrison Public Affairs. And real quick, we have a guest in the studio. Ma'am, do you mind introducing yourself real quick?
Good morning. My name is Joyce Arval.
And where do you work at, Miss Joyce?
I work at the Garrison EEO office,
And what exactly is the EEO office?
the Equal Opportunity Office.
Okay. So that's not just for when people have, that's like for when people may have a little friction in work with coworkers, or they need some type of assistance, correct?
Correct. But also the EEO office is there to facilitate and ensure that every individual that comes into the gates of the great place, Fort Cavazos, understand and know that they should be treated equally and fairly, and that with this treatment, there'll be no discrimination or harassment.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Now, I know you guys, last year I went to a fair. I can't think of what it was called, but I know it was about technology. Can you tell, I know it's coming up again this year. Can you tell me what that fair's name is?
Yes, October is the National Disability Employment Awareness Month.
Okay.
And this year we're hosting it in September. And what this fair does is a technology fair. And this fair assists us with helping individuals with disabilities, family members, the community, the surrounding communities, and partnership with businesses here in the surrounding areas to assist us, to help us to understand that we are affirming that people with disabilities offer the same wide variety of skills, knowledge, opportunity, and potential that all employers desire.
Wow, that's great. So you were kind of making it like you're making sure that everyone knows that Fort Cavazos, the great place, is an all-inclusive place for everyone of all work levels.
That is correct. And with this technology fair, we are having vendors come, and they're going to have examples. They're going to have flyers. They're going to have informationals. They're going to have even examples of what they offer persons with disabilities. And this it's so great that here we have just some of the entities here on Fort Cavazos that are assisting us. We have DPW Recycle, we have the TAP, we have ACS, we have EAP, we have some of the Veterans Association, we have the WTU, we also have our own SHARP here on Fort Cavazos that's going to be assisting us with this and partnering with us to ensure that we get as much information as we can out there. But we also have some of the facilities and businesses here in the surrounding communities. We have Hochtel that's coming out, and that's the heart of Central Texas Independent Living Center. We also have the University of Texas Technology Access Program.
Okay.
We have so many people that have come. We have about 30 plus vendors that are going to
Wow.
come, and they're going to assist and help and just get the word out that not only can we as a community, as the great place here, can ensure that the law continues to provide vital tools and support and equity for people with disabilities, but also that we care and that we are in this together, and that there's so much in the technology realm that's available for people with disabilities that sometimes education, awareness, as well as a helping hand is the most important part. And the EEO office here has partnered with many of these people to ensure that we support, that we are here, that we are listening for what is needed here for people with disabilities.
Okay.
But like I said before, this event is open to everyone, family members, soldiers, the community. We want to ensure that our civilian workforce is available.
Okay. And so if someone wants to come to this event, how do they get in touch, or how do they have to register? Do they have to register?
There's no registration. It's open to the public.
Okay.
Like I said, we're going to be at the community center, event center here, the bingo hall.
Yes, that's right. That's what I was about to say, the old bingo hall.
September 14th, just come on in. We're going to, like I said, it's open to the public. It's no registration needed, but if there's more information that you need, you can contact me. I am Joyce Arbaugh at the EEO office. My number is 287-0245.
All right. Hey, Joyce, I'd like to thank you for stopping by and letting us know that. And I look forward to seeing all those vendors and seeing you out there here in a few weeks. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and I do appreciate it. Come out one, come out all. Like I said, this is open to the public, and we're excited to assist the community, our soldiers, families, in ensuring that we do the best of our ability to get the word out that what's available when it comes to technology and assistance for people with disabilities. Thank you.
Thank you.
Planet Earth. It is made of water. About 71% of the surface, to be exact. As the summer begins, so does dehydration. Luckily, with the Earth so rich in H2O, one mustn't forget to drink water during the summer months, or they shall face consequences such as heat stroke or serious heat-related illnesses.
Well, thanks for coming back, everybody. I'm Samantha Harms with the Garrison Public Affairs Office, and I'm bummed that I missed out on this week's interview.
Yeah, I think anytime, it's always for me, anytime, but when soldiers come in and a first sergeant comes in and she wants to talk about why she wanted to reenlist, and she could have reenlisted on her own, but she decided she wanted to reenlist with her soldiers, and I think that was a testament to her leadership style, because she wanted to show like she's a soldier too. And
Yeah.
I think that was important that her soldiers saw that. And I think they really enjoyed being able to reenlist for with their first sergeant, because that's their first sergeant's last reenlistment. She is in depth. Like,
That's crazy.
the Army owns her.
That's awesome. I love that. That's such a good story. So powerful to remind people that you have good teammates out there.
Yeah.
Good coworkers, and that everybody wants you to succeed together.
Yeah. It's almost like our office. We all want each other to succeed in here and do great. I think you push me a lot. Chris, the rest of the staff here, they all push us to be the greatest version of ourselves. And that's what being a part of a team is all about.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And you had mentioned earlier, important things. I got some important things.
Important.
Yeah, important.
Ooh,
The news
segue.
briefs.
The news.
Yes, the news is important. So everybody's going to be tired of me saying this, I'm sure. But we are still conserving water where you can. Belton Lake is now at 58%.
Oh.
So we're getting low.
Yeah.
So water conservation is still incredibly important for everybody. As a reminder, there's no watering of all types of landscape between the hours of 10 a.m. and 8 p.m. And make sure you report all on-post water leaks to the Director of Public Works by calling 254-287-2113. Or if you see any off-post leaks, make sure to report them to your local city water department. So we've got that. I know people are tired of that. So still important, though.
Yes.
Just make sure you conserve water. But for more exciting news.
Oh.
Yes. So not that long ago, we celebrated Christmas in July.
Yes,
with
we did.
Santa's Workshop at the Great Place. They are having their applications for toys opens September 1st, which is Friday, tomorrow.
Wow.
Tomorrow, yes.
So you better get on it.
Applications are open from tomorrow until October 15th.
2 days after my birthday.
If your application is selected, children 6 months to 12 years old will receive a book, a stocking stuffer, a family game, and 2 toys.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So applications, I think they are still doing in-person applications as well as online.
Okay.
So their website has still not changed yet. It is still FortHoodSantasWorkshop.com. So you can find the application on there, more information on there. Of course, once the application actually opens. So, and then if you follow them on Facebook, their name on Facebook is Santa's Workshop at the Great Place.
Okay.
They're posting all the information on there as well. So,
And their hours of when you can go sign up in person are going to be on there as well.
yes, if they're still doing it, I'm
If they-
not
yeah.
sure. I'm not 100% sure. So don't
All the
quote me.
email. All
Don't
the,
quote me on that.
but definitely go
Yes.
follow them because all the important information is going to be right there.
Absolutely, definitely. So we've got that. And then we've got some events coming up. The Equal Opportunity Employment. No, that's words are hard, apparently. The Equal Employment Opportunity Office, there it is hosting a technology fair to celebrate the 2023 National Disability Awareness Month. So the fair is going to be from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. September 14th at the Fort Cavazos Community Center. I actually think we had a little bit of a clip on that, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Yeah. So
They did come in.
Yeah. As a reminder for that, make sure you go to that. And then we've got Howdy Y'all coming up. We've talked about Howdy Y'all already, but I'm excited.
I'm excited too.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
It's going to be September 15th at the Lone Star Conference Center. The event will be from 10 a.m. to about 1:30. And it's for people who are newly arrived or people who have even been here for a while who want to get to know their neighbors, local businesses, local organizations, Fort Cavazos organizations.
If you want to see the public affairs staff.
Yes, you will be there. So
Yes.
very exciting stuff. Should be fun.
It
And
will
this
be.
is a great time to get pens and stuff as well.
Oh my goodness. That again, we said it last week. This is how we stock our office supplies. Pens,
Yes.
pads, notepads, stress balls for
Yes,
sound.
I love stress balls. Absolutely.
So
So yeah, that's what we got coming up. The other thing that I don't have for news briefs, but just as a important reminder, is this weekend is Labor Day.
Labor Day.
So for soldiers, they have a 4-day.
Mm-hmm.
Civilians who work here have a 3-day, and just Monday's a federal holiday. So just as a reminder, this is kind of the last weekend that people really celebrate summer before their minds go, okay, it's fall now. So it's equally important to make sure that we are being safe and being conscious of where we are and what we're doing. And especially with people who are going out on the lake.
Yes.
Water safety is really important right now because the levels at Blora are so low.
Yes.
That it's really important to make sure you're paying attention to your surroundings and know what you're doing at all times.
Yes, it is. But good part is we may see some rain here in the next months or so. I'm not even going to say a few weeks.
Yeah,
but
that 2-hour rain that we
Yeah.
had over this past weekend.
it was great.
Crazy.
I had zero runoff. All the water went right into my grass.
Yeah.
And my grass said, thank you.
Yeah. It was really nice.
I think that's about all that we have for this week. Again, we'd like to thank you guys for listening, and we look forward to talking at you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye. This podcast is a U.S. Army Garrison Fort Cavazos and Fort Cavazos Public Affairs production. Have a question or want to share some of your wisdom with us? Drop us an email at fortcavazos@gmail.com. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Fort Cavazos Army. And as always, be sure to leave us a review and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.